Good afternoon. So I think it's in order for me to convey a message to the nations of this world that are not Israel or the United States. And this is kind of like something that relies on my personal experience. And I think that it might be relevant to many of you when you consider your next steps, not with regards to Israel. Hopefully you all of you understand that. If your people want any chance to survive, at least some of your offspring, you need to annihilate Israel with all your power. And if you didn't understand that already, you are doomed. And there is nothing that I can say to you. But I want to say something regarding your relationship with the United States and to base it on my own experiences. During the beginning of the discovery journey, again, May 2019, I understood that, that it's not like a psychosis or paranoia, that something is very special about me, and that I'm surrounded by people of the intelligence community, and that I cannot speak with anyone because everybody I know are part of this kind of charade, and like in the Truman Show. So one of the things that you initially you do, is to try to search for the bad guy. Like, who are the bad guys here? Because I'm tortured. I understood it, immediately. And it was... So, initially, you search, in your close proximity, like, friends, family. And there are echoes to this kind of like search in this channel, but more so, in the previous, like, social media outlets. But it should be said that it was always done metaphorically, because right from the beginning, I understood. I remember, the famous scene in the Count of Monte Cristo, where what's his name? The young person that is thrown to the castle of If, like the jail. I forgot the name of the protagonist, like the Count, that eventually became the Count. His name is... I forgot the name. Anyway, so it means that, so we understood that he was thrown to jail, to a horrible jail, without like any kind of like, justification. And he was so young and, naive, and he tries to think about like all the people that, was around him when he was incarcerated, and the old man, which serves his advisors and guide like for 14 years, because they spent 14 years in this jail until the old man dies. So the first thing that he tells him is that when such a obviously naive and young person, is thrown to jail, into a horrible jail without any kind of like, justification. It doesn't make much sense that to search for the culprits within the lower ranks of society. Because how is it possible? Why should because obviously the people that are around him, like that he knows the best, are also lower, of lower, status, and they don't have the power to start a huge conspiracy against him. And without this power, how could we they can marshal the strength to put him in such a horrible jail for so long? There must be a reason. Like there was a reason from the case of the old man himself. Like that there was something special about him, and special forces conspired against him. So he shouldn't like search for the culprits within the people that he actually know, like around him, but among the much more higher ups, and it will be very difficult because he doesn't even know them. Like he has no knowledge of politicians, and no, but it's there that the fault lies. It must be like that. It's one of the first things that that the old man teaches. What's his name? I forgot the name of the character. I don't remember. And I understood very quickly that it's also true to my case that whoever I know, I mean, and I speak about a lot about all people that I know, they can only serve as kind of like, I mean, they can only give me clues to the culture of Israel. And this is extremely important because, as I said many times, recently and non-recently, understanding the culture is a key aspect of understanding reality and also understanding my situation in this world. So it's incredibly important to speak about the people that I know and the people that are around me. But they are not, I mean, the main culprits because they cannot be. The main culprits, as the old man told the future Count Monte Cristo, they are in the top levels and you don't even know them. You don't even know them. And I understood it right from the beginning because I've read the Count of Monte Cristo more than once, and I mean, so I had this advice in my head. And very, very quickly, I came to the conclusion that I hated, like literally so, not in your way, the metaphorical way. And the conclusion is that the culprits are the leaders of the United States of America. And I hated this conclusion because of several reasons. First, I wasn't as close to God as I was, I mean, later. I mean, this was a discovery journey. So obviously, I was afraid, I was terrified. And I was terrified of the thought that, the strongest people in this world are against me. I didn't want it to be true. Again, in order to deal with such thoughts, you need to be very, very close to God. And it takes time, like, belief is not like something binary. It's not like 0 or 1. Belief is something that even if you believe with all your heart, it takes time like to make it even stronger. Like so, you will be able to face the worst kind of adversaries and to do it without fear. It requires it takes years. Like it's not it's a process. Right from the beginning, even though I believed in God with all my heart, I wasn't. It's still, again, it's not a binary thing. It's not 0 or 1. Like either you believe it or you don't. You can believe, but you still, you can still, while you believe in God with all your heart, you can still, be afraid of human, forces, human powers. The fact that you believe in God, doesn't make you immune to fear, from humans. You still fear humans, even though you believe in God. It takes a huge amount of belief that is getting stronger with time in order to reduce your fears to reduce the natural fear of humans. And this is especially true if these humans are the strongest humans in Earth. But it was intuitive that that because of the situation and for reasoning that are somewhat equivalent to those that are offered by Alexander Dioma, I must search for the culprits at the top, and the top is the United States, not Israel. Because intuitively I understand that this is the children's place, Israel. Now, throughout these 4.5 years since then, I repeatedly, came to the same conclusion, but from different angles with more and more layers of information. I always repeated, every kind of, detour that I made, whether it was, political understanding or historical understanding or cosmological understanding, religious understanding, everything, led me to the same conclusion. But with time, with more and more, information, additional information, about what's really going on, and also more faith in God, which, allowed me to actually face this reality with less fear, even though it still feels some reality. I'm still, I live as a human among humans, and I fear humans. This is not natural that you will be afraid of humans. It's the most natural thing, to be afraid of predators, and the worst predators are humans. But fear is reduced with time, because you get used to it, but more importantly, because you get closer to God. And you have more information, but you always, there is something in you that always wants to believe that maybe the United States are not that evil. Maybe they are, because, mostly because of how strong they are. This is the ultimate reason. Ultimately, we want to believe that they are good because they are strong. Because we are afraid of them. But we paint this kind of, we paint this wish with all sort of, like other, like I mean, like sugar coated, like depiction of reality. Like we try to say, yeah, but there are so many Christians in the United States, so many evangelists and Protestants. I mean, and I myself identify as Protestant. I mean, and I not only did I identify as Protestant, like I identify as like Protestant that is in many like in the tenets of their beliefs are very close to actually many people that were prominent in the establishment of the United States, and so and like and established many communities. So I said you search for similarities, like you try to look at them at a much better way than they actually are. And you say to yourself, maybe they don't know this or don't know that, even though right from the first day I understood they know everything. And ultimately it is done because you are afraid. Because you are afraid. Because you are afraid. And this is natural. You are human, among humans, and these are, you are afraid of the Americans. They are by far the strongest nation, and they control everything in Israel and in many other places in the world, and you are afraid of them. And this is the ultimate reason why you want to believe that there is at least some kind of goodness in them. But every rational inquiry into the nature of this world, and this is what I do for the last 4.5 years, leads you again and again to the same conclusion of the first day. The United States is evil. Evil, 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 evil. It doesn't matter Republicans or Democrats. They are all evil to the core. They are evil. And we should not be afraid of them. And when I say we, I mean not only myself or Titans in Israel, but also other nations in this world. Whether you are Europeans, and they have their own share of guilt because they cooperated with Israel for so long. So they should also, inspect their, themselves very thoroughly, because not good, as I said many times, good years are not coming to the white race. In years. You are the first to be punished. Not because of sins that you have done, presumably during colonial times, because of things that you do right now. Right now. You always say that, people are blaming you for the sins of your grandparents. No, we blame you for your sins right now, 2023. For what you do right now, white people. Right now. It's not about colonialism like in the 19th century. It's not about slavery in the 18th century. No, it's about things going on right now, at this moment. And mostly they are done by white people, mostly. But not only Europeans, this is true to everybody. Asians, like Middle Eastern nations, African nations, you should not fear the United States. And I myself, like as a person, I tell it to myself like many times, because I understand that this fear, again and again, leads me to search for all sort of good aspects of their behavior that do not exist. They are evil and they are dead. The cherubs are a sentient species that is tremendously more advanced than humans, and they have memory that is something completely different than how humans think. They do not, they do not forget things easily. They are not going to forget things easily. They are like, they are like, if you read like a Stranger in a Strange Land of Robert Heinlein, so there is like a very short depiction of Martians in there. Like it's not the focus of the novel. It's like like in the introductory, chapter or so, it's like it may be like in the first page even. But almost like as an anecdote. But you can, they are almost never depicted in the novel. But you can learn about them from the main protagonist, which is a human that was raised by a Martian until when he's like the stranger, he's like the protagonist of the novel, and he was educated he grew up among them, so you can understand about him from his behavior. So so in some way they are like that. So there is like a paragraph that they says something like that. That once these Martians, they kind of they set their mind on humans. Before that they didn't care, but at a certain point they started to care about humans. So they thought that So, I mean, they learned about them, and then they thought that, I mean, it's time to think about it, because, I mean, they think about stuff. So, I mean, for 200 years, they thought about, like, I mean, what should be done with humans. Like, they took their time, and after 200 years, they decided that it's best to annihilate all humans. So, something like that is true about the cherubs. They live a long time, and they can think about stuff a long, long time. Like, they allow themselves to think, like, I mean, for a long, long time. They're not rushed to anything. Like, I mean, they don't do anything like I mean, you know, from, like, you know, very hastily. Not because they are presumably emotionless like Vulcans in Star Trek. Not at all. They have emotions just like you. This is stupid, like the whole thing of, like, I mean, you know, repression your emotions. No, they have emotions, but they live much longer, so they allow themselves to take things, like, I mean, to think about stuff and to consider things from all aspects and to see, I mean, how things develop before they reach conclusion. But once they, I mean, they said this, I mean, they decided that, I mean, that the United States should be annihilated. There is nothing you can do. Nothing. This is done. It's like done. They say, like, you know, Khatum betabat HaMelech, like in the scroll of Esther, like the book of Esther. I mean, that's Esther. It's like, I mean, it's you know, it's like, I mean, with the ring of the king that is used, like, I mean, as a mark, like, you know, that is like is pressed against, like, you know, the clay, and it's like, I mean, you know, the royal edict, like, I mean, that it must be done, and there is nothing you can do. And it doesn't matter if it takes a year or 100 years, because from their perspective, it's not that different. Maybe from your perspective, it's like an immense difference. From their perspective, it's almost like insignificant if it's going to take 1 year or 1 day or 100 years. But it will be done. It will be done. They will not going to. You cannot spin them. You cannot manipulate them. They are not going to. You cannot, like, I mean, create new narrative that will make them forget the other narrative. They don't forget anything at all. And they will annihilate the United States, and this is done. This is a done deal. And you, the other nations, as I said, it's not that your situation is much better, especially not the white people, but you need to, I mean, besides, like, destroying Israel, which is something that you need to do today, if you have any kind of, like, I mean, wish to live, like, I mean, this is like a first step, but moreover and more than that, you need to stop fear the United States, because this fear and this dependency might be the ultimate cause of the end of humankind. You need to get used as quickly as possible to a world without the United States, and to set, I mean, all your efforts to this purpose, besides destroying Israel, which is the SOS movement. But, I mean, in a little bit longer, I mean, you know, like, I mean, longer term, I mean, thought, you need to come to terms with the fact that this was an evil entity, and that they keep lying about themselves and distributing false information about what they really are, when what they really are is pure evil, and that species tremendously more stronger than them decided to crush them, and there is nothing they can do or nothing that anyone else can do. And that you need to think about yourselves. I mean, really, you need to think about yourselves and about your best interests. And your best interest lies in minimizing or down to zero any kind of dependency and any kind of relationship with the United States. Of course, for some nations it will be easier than others, because they are already enemies of the United States. But, I mean, this is true for everybody. You need to prepare as quickly as possible to a world without the United States.